She's a project manager. She's project manager at LPA, and she's in charge of this specific project, including implementation and everything. So over to you, Elena.
Right. Thank you, Andrew, for that comprehensive introduction and explanation as to what it is the agenda for today. Can everybody in the chat please put their name in the chat so that we can know who attended and who did not attend? Yes? So just put your name in the chat for attendance. Andrew would have submitted to you on my behalf 2 documents. One document would be providing the training outline and the outcomes for today, as well as a training feedback form. If you can download the form and put an X, you can use your Word document, put an X beside the result that you would like to record on the form, okay? I'm going to pull up the form, the training outline, and give you just a quick walkthrough as to what the training will cover today. But before I do that, can everybody just state their name and their position so that we can know who you are?
All right, let me start. Andrew Evelyn, IT manager.
Raquel White, Director of Research.
Raquel Halstead, Director of Communications.
Dorothy Campbell, Communication Specialist.
Cheryl Martin Tracy, Director of Field Operations.
Sasha Gay Russell, Legal Officer.
Shunyan Edu, Senior Accountant.
Okay, Dulcie Allen, CEO.
Morning, Christopher Martin, IT Specialist.
Okay, I presume that's everybody. So thank you very much. I'm going to share my screen now, and I'm going to walk through our approach to the training, and then I will start the training sessions, okay? So let me share my screen. And here we have the training program for today's session, all right? You have this form so you can review it at your leisure. What we're going to address today, so the scope of the training session would be this. We're going to teach you how to log into the platform. That's going to be very simple and will be updated by the IT team when you actually have the solution in your environment. We're going to show you how to work with your in-basket items. We're going to show you how to collaborate with your colleagues. We're going to teach you how to assign officers to the case. We're going to teach you how to reclassify case types from complaints to requests, to utilize the response or decision buttons to move the case from one step to another step. We're going to run through all the document management features and functions to teach you how to version documents, check in, check out, preview documents, annotate documents, etc. We're going to show you how to add documents to folders and be able to retrieve them. We're going to show you how to reassign cases. So if you have a case and you need to reassign it for one reason or another. We're going to show you also some notifications, as well as how, if you have to leave office and need to delegate your work, we can show you how the system does that. We're going to also show you how to view or have an overview of the cases within your department, for example, and for example, the complaints officers and what cases would be assigned to them. We're going to demonstrate to you the audit trails and give you a visualization view into the system, show you how you can package all the documents from a case and store that in a PDF and use that for various reasons. For example, if you wanted to package the case details and use it in the preparation of a legal brief. And we're going to show you some searching and ad hoc searching, and also how non-assigned caseworkers can access documents and cases. Okay, the session should last for about an hour. We do welcome questions and feedback at all times. At the end of the session, there's a feedback form, which I mentioned. If you can just populate that, and you can either send it to Andrew, so he can send it back to me, or if you can upload it to the chat right here, that would be awesome. Okay, so everybody is clear? Yeah?
Yes, yes.
Okay, fantastic. So now I'm just going to take you through here, and I'm going to go through the outline. So if you want to follow the outline or not, you can just follow here and it would be straightforward. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how to log into the platform. Okay. When it's in your environment, I'm sure the tech team will ensure that this here is a favorite, so you won't have to go and look for the URL to log in. But I'm just going to log in here, okay, with a test user. Log in. And once I hit login, the case will go to whoever logs in. So right now I'm logged in as the Director of Field Operations. And you can see here, I'm logged in as the Director of Field Operations here, right? Director of Field Operations, okay? Here is what you call your in-basket view. All the cases that will come up here will come up in here. All the cases will come up in here, okay? As a list, okay? Here on the left, you have two in-basket options here. This is here, it's my role. This here is the role in basket, and this here is the my work in basket. The role in basket, every user has two in basket, a role and a my work. When you're functioning as the role in basket, for example, Director of Field Operations, all the cases will show up here. And if you want that case to go only to you, it will show up here. You can assign it to yourself. Okay. I'm now going to take you down to the in-basket menu view. Here we can see menu items. So here's the step name, and this is advising the Director of Field Operations what this step requires of her. She should review and assign an officer. Here tells you what the merchant name is, the complainant's first name and last name, the date the case was created, and a description or the case details of the case. Yeah. Now, each officer, once this is your in-basket view, what you do is click here and you will open the case. Let me move this zoom around so you can see. Once you open the case, you will see a number of items. So now, don't get daunted. I'm going to walk you through, right? On the left here, these are all your properties. That gives you a sort of an insight into what the complaint is about. Yeah. So here you have the complainant. When you click here, these are all the details on the complainant. And once the complainant submits the application, all this will be automatically here. This is all the details on the complainant. And this would reflect the form that was populated by the complainant. Here are the details on the merchant. Here are all the details on the complaint itself, right? And here is where the Director of Field Operations must assign the officer to work on this case. In order to do that, so you can see here, this is the assigned officer property. She can click. So this is anybody who is assigning an officer, okay? They can click on the assigned officer property and a drop down will come up here and she can put in the name. So let's say it was Denise Walcott. She wanted to put Denise Walcott. Or if it was not, if it was anybody else, let's say it was Nikisha. And search for Nikisha. Right? So I'm going to use Denise for easy access. Okay, so here we have Denise. So she's going to assign Denise Walker to the case. That's it. You click on the name, it comes up, you right click, and then you click OK. So now you can see here Denise is assigned to the case. Okay, so that's how you assign officers to the case. Now, if you want to collaborate with your colleagues for any reason, so this is not only with the assigned officer, this could be with the CEO, if the DFO wanted to liaise with the CEO, with a legal officer, with anybody for that matter. You can click on the case comments here and you can put in your comment. So this is how you collaborate on cases by leveraging the case comments. These case comments are stored in chronological order and it's stamped by the user's name and the time they put in the comment. So here, the DFO can see Denise urgent. All right, let's just say that we click add. As you can see here, of course, this is our test user, but here it will be stamped with your actual name and the time that you put it in and the date. And then you just click close. And it will be stored in there for every other user to see and view. That's where the case stores and is used as a collaborative mechanism. So now, you can now assign this case to Denise. So now you go across to, these are what you call response or decision buttons. At this step here, the decision button is to assign the officer to dismiss the case for whatever reason. If you deem that this is a frivolous matter or not, you can dismiss this case, or you can save and close and go back to it prior to submitting it to Denise. Yeah. One other thing you can do here is that when you spy this case, you can see, you can look at here and you can see this is either a consumer complaint or request for advice. At this stage, you can reclassify it as a request for advice, or you could leave it as a consumer complaint. Yeah, but you have the option to reclassify this case here if you believe that this is not indeed a consumer complaint, but simply a request for advice. And that would be based on the information gathered from here, the complainant information here, and the complaint details. If down here it was simply a request for advice, or you can leave that for the complaints officer to do. So at this stage, I am going to assign the case to the complaints officer. Here you get a notification telling you you're now submitting to Denise Walker to assess the case. Continue. So now the case will leave your in basket. It's gone. You have done your work. Of course, you may have 20 cases here. So you'll go through one by one and assign to Denise. I'm going to now log in as Denise here, just so I can continue on to show you what your role is. At this stage, for this session, I'm not going to demonstrate to you how Denise is going to do her work. I'm just going to quickly process this so it can go back to you. Okay, so here, let me check if this is Denise. Let me log in as Denise here. I log in as Denise. Right, complaints officer, as you can see, Denise is logged in. And here I'm going to my work and I'm going to look at the latest here, which is this one. So it is sorted in order. As you can see, Denise had a lot of work assigned to her, right? Denise has a lot of work assigned to her. So now this is the one that was just submitted by you, assigned by you here. And here, Denise would go in. She can view the comments and she can see that there are comments in there. She can upload, add letter here, add additional documents and stuff, and she can submit to you for feedback or no. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to submit for you for feedback, right? So need feedback. Need feedback. As you can see, Denise Walcott stamp here, right? And then submit the DFO for feedback. This is a validation warning, ensuring that you have made comments here. So it is warning you, giving you a heads up, okay? Gone. Now, I'm going to move back to the Director of Field Operations here, right? The case is here, review complaint. Yeah, so you can see the comment made by Denise, and you can collaborate with Denise. Okay. Right. Okay, so at this stage here, you can click submit your feedback. As you can see, this will go back to Denise and it will go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Okay. So what I'm going to also show you now is, for example, let's suppose there were documents that were uploaded here, right? Right, let's add a document here. Let me show you, cancel, let me show you here. So here you can use, this is called the attachment placeholder. And you put attachments here so that the next user can access this immediately without having to go into the folders down here, right? As you can see, the complaint documents are stored in these folders here. Now, if you want to attach documents so that the other user will have it at easy access, here's the way to do it. So you click on this, it's called attachment placeholders, and you click to attach the document. Here, you can attach from your local system, which is your desktop, right? So you can go straight to your desktop. And nobody wants to see my desktop, but my desktop is a mess. So you can go to your desktop, and let's say you wanted to attach, say, some mediation documents. And you can add it there. Yeah. Or you wanted to attach additional documents, you can go here and you can attach documents from the case. So not only can you add documents from your desktop, you can add documents that are currently in the case folders. You can click here and to show you in here their documents. So you can click on here and you can add a complaints document, which is in your case folders here. Yeah. Also, you can add documents from the central repository. So the system comes with a central repository, and you can add documents that have been stored there in any number of cases that would have been done before or not. So you can click on here and add documents from the central repository. In here, you can actually search for to find the documents. So document title, if you know it, starts with, let's say if we had audited, something to do with audit, right? And so whatever other parameters you know, and then you just click search. And all the documents associated with audited, see the audited financial statements here. These are all the documents which would have been modified on this date, added by, and you can use any one of these. You can click on this and the document will open up. And you can see, yes, this is the document that I want to add to the case. Yeah. So here it is showing up in preview mode. And you can see, okay, this is the document that I wanted to add to the case or not, right? Or not. Good. So I can select one of these to use or not, right? So let me cancel here because I don't want any one of those. I already have uploaded this document that I want here. Yeah. So there's three ways to add three types of documents and 3 ways to add documents to the case. You can add documents from the folders, from your local drive, or actually from the repository. Okay. Now, I'm going to now show you some document management functionality. If, for example, the DFO, the complaints office had sent you this document and you don't want to have to download it to peruse it, you just want to have a quick look at it, you can right click on this document here and you can preview the document. Yeah, you can expand here so you can actually see what this complaint is all about. So you can see, okay, yes, this is in preview mode, right? This is preview mode. You can say, okay, okay, great, right? Or you can actually left click on this document and it will come up and where you can annotate, you can actually do some annotations on this document where you can, so here you will have a navigation bar where you can scroll and see all the pages here, right? You can actually download this document straight from here. So click download and it comes up here and you can save it if you want, right? You can actually print the document straight from here. So if you want to print it, sorry, it goes straight here and you print the document, right? So it goes print, it will print. Right here, if you wanted to see document properties, you can click here and see, you know, when it was created and how big it is and et cetera, right? And then you can use the navigation bar here. No, this is rotate, whatever. You can use the navigation bar here or not, right? So here it gives you the option to be able to annotate. You can actually mark up this document and annotate, right? Let me show you. This annotated a little bit. Let me show you here. If I right click here, if I left click here, right? Let's click on this document. There you go. See, you have all the annotates. So you can stamp, you can write, you can put sticky notes, you can do all of these things, and it will be stored on the document itself, right? I'm not that good at annotating, but you know, all this annotation stuff is available, right? Okay, so now, so you click this little button here to expand if you want, right? And you expand. Good, so let me move this so you can expand this and move this around as needs be, okay? In addition, so apart from previewing the document, annotating the document, you can actually download a document if you want. Or, very importantly, in some of these documents that you prepare, whether it is mediation documents or documents for legal and stuff, you can version the document. So you can check the document out, right? And download it, or you can just check it out. I'm going to do this just for training purposes. And then you can actually check, make your changes and check it back in. And this would be done as people change it, as people edit the document, right? So let me go back in and I go mediation documents, open, check. Right? So you can check in and check out. So every user who is editing the document can check in and check out so that the document will show the different versions that it goes through. If I right click here, I just edited the document. I can go to properties here and I can show you here, this here. Its properties will show you the versions and you can see that the versions were just changed. This is the original version and it was superseded by this. And if you click on this document, it will show you that the original version is kept here. So you don't have a million documents on in your drive, in your documents folder. It's actually, you get in one single document, but the versions are kept in the version history. So you can access any version, the integrity of the version is maintained, but you can access these versions, right? You can also look on the properties of this document here, and you can see the name of the document, and you can also see some system properties. For example, if you click here, it'll give you an insight into when this document was, who created this document, when it was created, the ID of the document, current version, if it was checked in or checked out, etc. Right? Here, this is the security on the document. If you have security privileges, you can actually change the security on this document. You can add people who can be owners of it. So you can add owners. You could remove owners. This is depending on the security schema that is designed for documents. So here you can manage document permissions. You can delete the document. These are the options. Edit major versions, but these are owner options, right? But if you have users who could probably just only view the document and view the properties. So you can remove users from here. You can add users. Suppose you wanted to say, I want to add a user who can collaborate on this document. I would like to see somebody outside of the case. So suppose it was Sasha. Sasha is not involved in the case, right? If I were to add Sasha, let me just put Sasha. Sasha is there. Oh, no, Sasha. Sasha is not there, but maybe Sasha. See, that's correct. Is that the correct spelling of Sasha? There it is. Sasha Gail Russell, right? I can add Sasha. I can move Sasha across. There you go. And then add and see. Now Sasha, as you can see, can edit or modify the state. If I wanted Sasha only to be able to read or view, then I can add Sasha down here. And if it was somebody was here that oughtn't to be here, then I can click here and remove them from the case. Remove them from accessing the document, sorry. Okay, so then we cancel here. So that's where you see there's security, the levels of security on a document level. Of course, from the entire system, there's a whole schema we do to assign security to the schema, okay? So I cancel here, so that was security. You can also right click on this document here. Let me just move this here so you can see, move this zoom here. You can also right click on this document here and actually send, let's suppose you were liaising with a complainant or merchant, all right? And you had a document here, you don't want to have to go to your email system or anything, because once you send it from here, it's stored right in here. You can click here, add as a link or as an attachment. So you click here, you put in from who, right? Right, to whom, right? Of course, I'm not sure I have it right. You can put the subject here is method to and then you can add your message here and then you click send and it will go straight out to whom you send it here. And once it comes back to you because you have it from here, then you will drag it straight into the case and you can put a folder here. You can add a folder for liaison with merchant folder. Okay, let me right click here now that I will send an email. There's something very important that you can do here too. You can actually view the link on this document. Sometimes there are big documents in the system. And instead of wanting to share the whole document and clog up your email, you can actually just copy the link here and share the link. Yeah. So once you copy the link here and you can share the link by email or anywhere else, then people can have access to the link and not access to the document. And what's good about this too is that if you have a document that has security attached to it, and you don't want to share that by email because of the potential security compromise, you can share the link. They will have to log in, and if they don't have secure access or the access rights, they won't be able to access the document. I'm talking about internally within the commission, all right? So you don't have to share the actual document, but you can or you can share actual versions. You can select the version that you want to share or the link, and you can select the actual link of that version, and it goes directly into the version history. All right. So you can do that as well. And I click here, and of course you can remove the attachment and add a different attachment. Okay. So that gives you a nice indication as to how to maneuver your document management component of the system. All the documents are stored in there, right? If I put in it correctly. Go. Okay. Okay, so now, as you can see here, we go back into the operation. Hold on. All right. You can also add documents to the folder schema or add folders here. Now, all documents to the case are stored in the appropriate folder. So say, for example, you have the complaint documents, all the documents are stored in here, and you can add more documents in here. So as the case evolves through the system, all the documents will be added in here. Or if you have reports to prepare, the documents, you can store the documents in there. Or for legal, for example, all legal documents should be stored in here. So if you wanted to add either a new folder, suppose you wanted to add a new folder, add folder. You can call this folder here. Add all the documents associated with merchants or your liaison with the merchants. You can put all those documents in here nicely. Yeah, or you could store it within any one of these documents, right? Folders within folders. So let's say it's here, and you wanted to add the letter to the merchant here, or you can go from, like I said, you can add it from the case, you can add it from your local system, or you can actually search the repository, right? If I go here and I choose my file, and do I have a letter to merchant? Say letter to merchant, right? Letter to merchant, I add it here, and I add it, and it stores it there. And from here, I can look at my documents in there, and I can look at it from a magazine view. So I can see when it was edited, who edited and what, or I can have the regular view, right? And of course, you can add as many documents in there as you want to. You can right click here, and you have the same document management properties as you would have had if you were looking at the attachment up there. Yeah. Okay, so that's it for document management and looking at cases. Okay, now, so this, if you want to get back out, you can close, and you want to go back in, you can open. Yep. Okay, so now I'm going to continue on with some in-basket items, but do you have any questions at this stage? Okay, so I'll wait for you all to give me 1 minute. All right, I'll be back in 1 minute, okay? Okay, I'm back. So any questions? No?
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
All right. When the case is assigned by the director / manager, whoever assign a case to an officer, when the officer logs in, will there be a notification indicating that there are new cases and urgent cases? So because normally the officer may just go to their regular case of doing, the regular case that they work on, but will there be something that really pops up to say you have new assigned cases and you have 2 and 4 that are urgent, so on?
Excellent question. So I will answer that, right? I will answer that as I go along, but I'll make a note of answering that. Okay, any other questions? Doesn't seem so. Okay, so I'm going to just push along this process and I'll come back, answer that question. And of course, if there are any more. So I'm just going to submit feedback to
Elena?
Yes.
Sorry, one more question. So in regards to the comments,
Yes.
how will I know that there's a comment waiting for me without, I'm not seeing an indication without clicking on the comments button. Maybe I missed it, I don't know, but I'm not seeing where. The other thing is I am seeing where you made the changes in regards to merchant and informant. You make it a little bit more, those changes that were requested, you implemented them, all right, in terms of the labels. But I'm sure there was a somewhere in the presentation, informant was there. Do you remember seeing that?
Yes, of course. So how we had, before the last demonstration, we had used the term informant and respondent as opposed to complainant and merchant. But we were advised by one of your directors that from a legislative perspective, you all don't recognize those terminologies. So to use complainant, consumer, merchant, vendor. So we changed it.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, double check, because there's indication that informant is still somewhere in the system. But
Yeah. So yes, we do. You're right. There is informant in the system because the competition division uses informant and respondent, and the consumer division or commission rather uses complainant and merchant. So yes, it is in the system.
No. Here for consumer.
Okay, no problem. No problem. We'll do some yes. Okay, thank you for that. We'll do due diligence and make sure that there's no reference, because I believe there may be some remnants of that. So thank you. We will have a look and see if there's any more reference to respondent and informant.
Right. Probably in the document section.
Yes.
Thank
exactly.
you. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Sure, of course. Right. So the questions, I'm going to submit this feedback to Denise. I'm just going to push it back and answer the question as we go through the process, okay, to some extent. So let me just go to Denise here, who would be actioning the case. Hang on a second. And here, we're going to say that Denise, that there's some breach was identified. So the caseworker will have to go in here, identify the breach type, right? So a breach, yes or no. She'll have to put in the breach type, right? Let's say it's whatever breach type is there, put in the section of the breach associated with that breach type, right? And determine if the breach is identified or not. So she says breach identified. She can probably tell her supervisor that right, or whatever Sorry, here I spelled it wrong, IDEN, but of course you have spell check, add, and you close. And now I'm going to hit breach identified. It gives you a nice synopsis as to the type of breach identified, proceed to investigations. So now I'm going to go back to the DFO. So I'm just walking through the case while I'm demonstrating the features and functions, okay? Sorry, my bad. The case will still be at the officer here to work on the breach. So yeah, my bad. Give me a second. This is supposed to be here, Denise. There you go. Oh, Denise. Yep, give me a second. And time created. So here's you sort. You can sort in chronological order here, right? Which is what I did. And you can see merchant decision here. So now, of course, the complaints officer is going to determine if the merchant is amenable to an agreement, or it has to go for formal mediation. So here, of course, it's into investigations, and they're going to go through all of this. I'm not going to go through this. This will be for tomorrow's session. So the breach fault, for whose fault it is. Of course, they can do all of that. There's a subsection, all of this stuff. But they're going to now submit. They would have liaised with the merchant, and they can say that merchant right? Close, and they're submitting a request for formal mediation. So here she will put in, Denise will put in, let's say, request for formal mediation. Do you have any mediation sample documents here? Hold on. For a second, let me see if I have any mediation documents. Mediation documents here. Add. And she's going to send on to the DFO. Am I still sharing, or did I change that? You're still seeing, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, good. And I'm going to submit the request for formal mediation. As you will notice here, the case is evolving, and you can see the stages of the case as it moves from origination to assessment to investigation and early resolution. That's the stage we're at, right? It automatically evolves here. So we're going to submit for formal mediation. Yeah. You must, so this is the validation in here saying you must select no for the merchant accepts breach if you're submitting for formal mediation, right? So here I must go in here, and does the merchant accept the breach? Yeah. Does the merchant accept the breach? Breach, yes, merchant accepts the breach. So here I'll go in, does the merchant accept the breach? Case information here. The merchant accepts the breach. Merchant accepts the breach. Yes or no. Here I put no. Merchant does not accept the breach. And then I go submit for formal mediation. So that's a requirement in order to proceed. Okay. And here I proceed now to the request for formal mediation. And I have to go to, of course, the DFO will log in. Of course, I'm, switching between roles, but this won't be happening when you have the case. All right. So it's now at DFO. Now that the DFO here, formal mediation request. Right. Now the DFO can approve for mediation, and this holds the mediation process will start or reject or submit feedback, etc., etc. These are the response buttons here, right? At every step in the process, you have response or decision buttons. You can save and close and go back afterwards, save, close. You can submit feedback, meaning that you can request additional information from the complaints officer, or you can proceed to reject or approve. This is how the case moves from one step to another. And once you choose one of these response buttons, as long as it's not this and this, the case would move from your in basket and automatically to the next person's in basket in the workflow. Okay. So I am not going to move on from here. I'm just going to now continue with training you on how to use the system. All right. If you wanted here, for example, let me close here, and you wanted to close, instead of sending this back to Denise, you realize that Denise was not in office today, and you had to reassign it to Nikisha, for example. So you can right click here and you can reassign the item to Nikita. So here you click and you look for Nikita in here. So let's put Nikita, let's put N. Here, Nikisha, not Nikita, Nikisha. So you click on Nikisha here and you click OK. And the case would be reassigned to Nikisha. Now, I don't want to reassign it to Nikisha, okay? But I'm showing you how easy it is if you needed to reassign the case to Nikisha or anybody else for that matter. It doesn't have to be Nikisha. It could have been, right? Let's see Petra. Let's see if we can reassign to Petra. Let's click. Yeah, Petra. So we can reassign to Petra, right? But we're not going to reassign unless you know, instead of sending it back to Denise, you can right click on a case and assign to whomever, right? You could also right click on the case and add comments directly from here. So instead of having to go into the case comments, so let's suppose the director of field operations here, she doesn't have time to open the case and go in. She can go straight from in here, add the comments, saying reassigning case to N.I. Nikisha and how do you spell Nikisha? Petra, they're telling me, Petra. Reassign to Petra, right? Because yeah, I'll have a problem trying to spell Nikisha. Reassign in case to Petra. And you could put your explanation here. Petra, please address ASAP. Denise is not there, etc., right? Close case, right? In addition to that, let's answer the question the gentleman asked about notifications, right? So you can go here to your, all in baskets has a preferences feature. You can click on your preferences feature here, and you can put in your email address here. Every user has it. You can put in your email address, and you can here now determine the extent to which you want notifications. So when a new work item is assigned to you, on. So once a case goes into your in basket, you're notified. When a work item deadline is passed, you can have it on, you're notified. When you're near a work item deadline, on. When a milestone is reached, on. And except a workflow, it's a workflow tracker notification. So you can get all these notifications. Step deadline is passed, workflow error, these are more for technical stuff, okay? So you can do these to turn on notifications as needed. So what you will find as you grow with the platform, you'll realize that depending upon what percentage of time you spend in the system will determine the benefit of the notifications. If you go into the system few and far between, then it will be very important to have notifications. But if you live in the system like a complaints officer, then there's no point having notifications in your email system as well as in basket items here, because invariably will have to come here and you'll just be cluttering up your email, okay? So that would be something that you would have to determine, use your discretion to determine the value of notifications, but you have the facility to turn them on and off as needs be. You can turn them off initially, turn them on initially, and then turn them off afterwards. Now, in addition to this, there's also the function to delegate your work. So for example, if you're going to be out of office, you have to travel, you're going on vacation, etc., you can go delegate your work to. So this is all your future work, not your existing work. So your future work, you can go select here and delegate your work. So let's suppose it was Cheryl, and she wanted to delegate her work to say Raquel, right? Delegate her work to Raquel, right? So let's see, put Raquel in the system. Let's see, Raquel, search, and RAC, there you go. RAC, you gotta learn this, you gotta know how to spell to use the system, huh? Can't be like me. You gotta know how to spell the names, right? So you go in there and you select Raquel. And you can assign all your future work to Raquel until you return, right? So I'm not going to assign the work to Raquel. It could be anybody. You just put in Rac and Raquel came up, right? Close. So here, this is how you use this functionality to do notifications and assign all your future work, right? If you had a lot of work in your in basket here and you're going to be out of office today, for example, right? And I know, let me go back to here because you'll have a lot of items in your in basket here. You can highlight them all, right? Let me highlight it down to here. All of these, you can right click here and you can reassign all of these. So suppose you wanted, instead of Denise having all of these, she can now reassign some of her work. So she can put in Petra. She can assign this to Petra, right? And all will go to Petra. If I say, okay, right, click here, okay. All the cases would have then gone to Petra, and then she can assign the rest to somebody else, so, right? So you can assign them all the existing cases all at a time in your in basket, or you can assign your future work to another officer, okay? Okay, so now, so that was milestone notifications, delegating your work. A couple other things that you can do is, let's suppose you have to add somebody to your role who is in the system. So this is from a manager's perspective. And you have people in the system, but you don't have, IT is too busy because this is business use. You can go in here and you can manage the roles. So you can go in here, depending on if you have access, and you can see who is assigned to what. So if you look here and you look for the complaints officers here, you can click on complaints officers here, and you can see all the users who are assigned to complaints officers. And if you wanted to add somebody new, so IT had put them in there, they're added to the system, but they're not added to the role. You can come in here and you can add somebody in here. So say, for example, you know, Denise is going off on maternity leave. You can add somebody here to act in place of Denise. Or let's suppose you, the DFO or the legal officer was going on leave, you can come in here and add somebody else to replace the legal officer. All right, so here's where you can use this functionality to add somebody else to different roles. So say, for example, you wanted to add somebody to the DFO. Where is the DFO? Director of Field Operations here. So here we have only Cheryl. If you wanted to add Raquel here, right, you can go here, add Raquel, AC, search. You add Raquel, click here, add, and now Raquel will also be able to act as the Director of Field Operations when Cheryl is not there. So it's as simple as that, okay? This is where you can manage the roles to give you the functionality and the flexibility to manage your department without having to go to IT, all right? So let me cancel here. Now what I'm going to actually show you is to look at some of the case history, right? So if you wanted to go in here and look at a specific case, right? You want to go and look at a specific case, and let me just go into here actually. Actually, let me look at the same case here, right? If you wanted to actually see this case and the status of this case, you can click here on this actual case number. This is a case number, and will take you to an audit trail or visualization mechanism to actually view this case in detail. This is a complete audit of this case, every step that was done in this case and by whom. If you click here, these are all the documents in the case here. All the documents added to the case is stored in here. All the activities that have been done is outlined here. And a full history of the case is shown in here. You can see reassigned case to Petra, merchant does not accept responsibility, everything in chronological order, right? Now, I'm going to go back to here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this button down here, and it's going to give you full visibility into every single step within the case and who did what. So this is for management, if management wanted to have oversight in this case and see, okay, of course, this is going to be over days rather than minutes. So you can click here and see what was done here, that the documents were added here by whom. If you go here, you can see what was done in each step here. The case was modified and by whom and the name, every single thing showing up here. Here you can see different icons showing what was done. Here you can see, if you click here, you'll see when the case was launched, right? You can see here, the case origination. You can see here, case assessment. You can see here, early investigation and resolution. And the last step is formal mediation request. We didn't process it, right? You can see all of this here. You can click there and you can see the status of this is not complete. You can click here and you can see the status of this and what transpired here and what time. So you can, this gives you a complete insight into what transpired on this case or on any case for that matter, yeah? Now, I'm also going to show you something else. Many times you may need to have a copy of all the case documents and everything that transpired in the case, and you want to keep a copy of it, right? What we do in the paper-based world is you print out everything and you store it on a paper file. And that's how you believe you track and you keep an archive of this. But what this system allows you to do is to create a package. You can configure the package as to what of this case you want to store in a PDF, in a single bundled PDF. So you can click on this, create package. So for example, if legal wanted the entire case in a single PDF document or whomever, right? Okay, so you click on create package, right? Here, and you identify what it is that you want to add to the case, okay? So you can click here. If you want everything here, you may or may not want all of this to be stored in the PDF. And you can come in here and what documents you want to go as well. As you can see here, these are the folders. And in these, they're documents actually in two sets of folders, complaints here and layers with merchants. And you can see the arrow, right? If you click here, you will see there's one document. And if you see here, there's another document. If you wanted to attach the documents to the package, you click them and you click next. So all of this is going. You can actually say, I don't want the case advice. I don't want the case state to go. I don't want the consumer breach section to go. I don't want the amount paid to go, et cetera, right? So you can remove all of the case properties or add all the case properties. So no case properties you want going, just the documents, or you can add the specific case properties that you want to go, right? So here I'm going to go next. And here you can put in, okay, additional information. Do you want the case stages to go along with it, with the case history? And do you want all the comments of the case to go or no comments? You say, you know what, these comments are not necessary, or yes, I want all the comments to go, right? So let's go next. And here, you put in the title. So this is, the title of this is, okay. The subject would be, say, legal case. Right? Or let's say legal brief. Sorry. Legal brief. Author would be, let's say it was Sasha. Or not, this is for Sasha. So let's say it was Cheryl. And then any keywords? Maybe not. Okay, I can preview it. I can preview what I have. Let's preview what I have here. I can see a full preview of everything, right? It shows me everything that's there. So you create a nice package. It gives you an automatic table of contents. Everything that's stored in the case based on the case properties, the value, everything shows up classified. Yeah. All the stuff, the work items, the history and then the documents are also stored, right? And you can say create package. Once you hit create package, then the documents are stored actually in the case. It's stored in the case right in here. You give it a couple of minutes and it'll actually be stored within the documents of the case. And you will have it in PDF and you can share it with whomever. So you can go back to the case, you have it, or you can download it straight from here and you will have the documents associated with that package. Yes?
Question.
Sure.
Cheryl Tracy here, Elena.
Yes.
In creating this particular package, is there a unique identifier? Like each particular case has a number assigned. How do you guard against information from other cases being stored in this case as a package?
Okay.
Question is, suppose the title would show whether it's a legal brief or so forth and so on. Would that title also show, or could that title also show what case this pertains to, as in a unique identifier? Suppose I wanted to add to the person who is creating this package wants to add a receipt of amount paid. How do you guard against somebody taking up a receipt? I'm just putting out a weird example here, taking a receipt of amount paid from another source, and putting it with this particular brief for whatever reason. It might not be for a nefarious intent, but it might be an error. How do you guard against taking documents from other cases in order to put into this legal brief if there isn't a unique identifier? So when I'm going to create a brief, does it say, okay, you're going to create a brief on case number 123, and only the documents or anything in the system relating to case 123 would be able to be clicked on in order to be included? Am I making myself clear?
Yes, you are. So
Okay.
let me expand. So I call this a legal brief, but this really is the ability to copy all the details of the case to a single package and
Okay.
be able to export it and use it in any way possible. Normally, in the paper world, you will have a folder and you put all the documents in that folder. And then you will have a folio number or minute and you'll write that up as you go along. What this is trying to do is to give you the digital transformation capability, so you won't need to do that. But the details you will capture here is specific to this case only. You can create multiple packages on the unique identifier for each case. Look, the unique identifier for this case here. This is the case number specifically. So this is the details on this case number only. Right? This is not the details, and you can now add multiple packages if you want for multiple cases. All right. But this is not where the system doesn't allow you to upload anything new here or change what was uploaded to the case. It doesn't give you that capability. Also, if there were relationships here, relationships with maybe other cases, these would automatically show up here. Now let me give you an example. If someone came in and surreptitiously or otherwise added a document to the case at the end, you see a stamp of that showing up here. You will see somebody going in and doing that. And from an auditing perspective, you will want to know, why is it after the case was closed that somebody went in here and uploaded a document? Because you will see it stamped that somebody came in here and uploaded the document. Yeah. So this is why you have this complete audit trail to see who did what and when and why. But
Thank you.
okay, the purpose of doing this is to create a package of this particular case. All right.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So now let me go back here. So that's creating a package. And also you can actually, if I go in here and I look at, let's suppose, and what I'm going to show you now is how to look at cases, for example, different abilities to search and retrieve on different cases. So say, for example, you wanted to see, I want to see all the cases added on today, right? You can put here, you can put whatever date. These are simple searches. You can put all the cases added on today. You can do search and you can see all the cases added on today. And if you just wanted to get a summary of what was happening on this case, you can click on it. And to the right, you'll see a summary of each case here. So instead of having to go and look anywhere, you can find all the cases in your summary or full history details of what transpired in that case, right? So for each one, you can just click on the case and you can get a summary of it. Or you can open the case and go straight into the visualizer that we just saw, yeah? Here you can also have the magazine view as opposed to the regular view. And here you get more details on it, right? Now, if you wanted to look at, for example, cases that were actually created by, right? Created by, say, added by, created by, say Denise. We use Denise here in our test environment, which is why I'm only using Denise, right? So if you want to see all the cases that were created by Denise, you can click here and search, and all the cases created by Denise will show up with the date, the state, and the case number, right? So this is a very simple way to access cases from a multidimensional perspective. Or if you want to see, hold on, let me just move this around. Let me just move this around. Move this around. Oh, hold on. Yeah, this is, give me a second. Hold on. So, okay, let me go back. So I wanted to look at not only just that, any parameter. If I wanted to see the assigned department, if I wanted to see by case number or case state, right? Or case resolution or whatever property I wanted to search on, I can search on here, resolution status, resolution type of agreement, all right? I can do that there. Or if I wanted to do some advanced searching, I can actually go here and I can search on by different parameters. If I wanted to see here, for example, all the cases that were added on, that were created from, let's see, the 1st of August. Oh, let's do the 1st of September. Let's do the 1st of September to now, to current, right? And if I wanted to see it by the assigned officer, or let's say no, I want to see by consumer matters and not competition matters, because this straddles both competition and consumer. So first, let me do the consumer matters, and then let me just choose the date, which is the 1st of September to now, right? And I wanted to go assigned officer. Here I can put in D Walker. Let's suppose I put D Walker, right? And let me just do this, and I just do a quick search. There I will see all the cases that is for this period, right? Which would have been 1st of September to now, all the cases that were assigned to Denise Walker. You can see all of these cases here assigned to Denise Walker, right? And then you can export this, of course, to Excel, and you can do this by all your assigned officers, not only by Denise, you can do by all assigned officers. So you have all your assigned officers here, you can export and use that. And so there are 1,000,001 permutations and combinations. It is your ability to do ad hoc searching and querying across any parameter within the case. So if you wanted to do this by settlement type of court, if it was type of case, if it was just walk-ins, I wanted to see all the walk-ins. I'm not sure if we have any walk-ins right, in our tests. If we wanted to do that by walk-ins, right? So you qualified by just walk-ins and do a search. You can see here how many walk-ins we had. See, all walk-ins, type of case by walk-ins, see? So now you see all by walk-ins. If I wanted to do even more, if I want to do even a further drill down on that, instead of just by walk-ins, I can do by consumer submission type. No, request for advice or complaints. If I do request for advice, I probably see one. Well, let's try that. Request for advice, search. There you go, one, because we only did one. So as you can see, you can look at these are the ability to do ad hoc searching on any parameter that you want, by what, and you get the results here, and you can export this to Excel. All right, so that is how you do the case searches. Yeah, and I think basically we have come to an end. I would believe I would have gone through all. Let's see the time. It's just around an hour or so, right? Because we started at what time? Andrew, what time did we start? About 10:30 your time?
Sorry, yes, correct. Around about 10:30.
Yes, so it's around there. So it's just over an hour or so, or maybe about an hour. And that really comes to an end. So if you have any questions, please submit your question. And if you could just complete the feedback form so that you can complete it now, just put the X's where you want the X's while we wrap up the conversation. Any other questions?
Helena, this is Latoya Halstead. As it relates to milestones, can you give an idea as to what some of these might be?
Can you give an idea as to?
What you are referring to as milestones.
Okay, so you mean when we go in here and we see these milestones here?
Right.
So where's the milestone? Where do I have milestones? Yeah, where are my milestones? Workflow deadline. Anyway, so okay. So that's a good question. So let me close here and show you what example of could be milestones. If I open here, give me 2 seconds. So for example, you can, if you want, identify these as milestones. So these are the automatic tracking of the case as it evolves through your process. And we have here the case origination, case assessment, investigation and early resolution, formal mediation. The case is resolved. It's gone to legal for review. Legal could say yea or nay, the case is actionable or not. If the case is not actionable, then it will go back for closure. If the case is actionable, it still could be that the complainant does not want to proceed. So it goes to if legal action is recommended or not, and then it will have to go to commission. If it's then going to go to litigation, and then it goes to litigation in progress and the outcome. So these can be added as milestones. So if you wanted to be able to view by milestone, or for example, in how competition does it, competition has stipulated milestones as they go through their investigative procedure. And there we have actually configured milestones in the system. So when a milestone has been reached, you can be automatically notified. So it depends on what you would like to configure as a milestone. You can configure as a milestone, for example, when the case is closed. Or what a nice configuration for you could be that at 10 days, once the case reaches 10 days, which is the initial deadline, or 30 days, which is the extended deadline, any cases going past 10 days could be flagged. Any cases going over 30 days can be flagged. So for you, for CAC, those can be milestones that you may track, and therefore you want to have a high visibility of that so that you can be proactive rather than reactive. So that might be something you might want to consider. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you have, which makes me also wonder about the extrapolation of information regarding, for example, our resolution rate. In terms of the number of cases that we have actually inputted over a particular period, information like that. And this is speaking from a communication perspective.
Yes, so you can do a search or report as to all cases during this period that have been resolved, as opposed to all cases that have not been resolved, and the resolution timeline, resolved within 10 days or resolved within 10 to 30 days or resolved past the deadline, or that kind of, if you want to have that kind of, those kind of reports or reviews, yes.
Okay, great.
Yes, anyway, any other questions? How did you find the training? Do you find the system is simple to follow? Was the training simple? Of course, we plan to give you a refresher training later on, but what is the general feedback on the training?
Elena, before anybody responds, one other question as it relates to the system. Normally, in terms of the information that is provided regarding the milestones for communication, the field director, operations director still needs to sign off on that. Is there going to be a fail-safe in there, in the system, for that to happen after you have generated a request?
That's an excellent question. So what you're saying is that for the report on the milestones to go across to you, the DFO has to sign off on it.
Correct.
So that's not a process within the system. The DFO, that can be a policy and procedure that you'll use surrounding the use of the system, right? Because you have to now engender some business rules to inform users how to use this tool, because it's a tool, and then it's very flexible. You can use it any way you want. So you can then have, a policy and procedures manual to say that once reports are generated for whatever purpose, it must first be reviewed by the DFO before it's sent on to you. And I think maybe you can come up with some of those policy decisions in the use of the platform. Do you understand what I mean?
Understood.
Okay. So any other feedback? How was the training?
Good so far. I'm seeing some aspects of the system that we didn't see before. It's very interesting. I really like the fact that you can package the cases, the case information and all the details on the case, whether it be the comments and all the stages and milestones and everything into one file that could be taken to court if necessary, without having access to it. So that's really good. Yeah, the only thing in regards to training is for our next training, I'd love to see, or love for us to get hands-on with a little bit of exercise included, entering cases and things like that. That would be really
100%. And exactly. Yeah. So for when we do the next training, you would be hands-on, and some of the things that I would have demonstrated, for example, the next training would be, if I right-click here and I say, let's look at checkout and download, right? Checkout and download, a document will show up down here. Here it is. Then I would ask you all to check out, download, and for example, here, when you check out, there's a lock. The document is locked, so nobody else can edit it while it's checked out. So here you will see if somebody else tries to edit the document, in this case, while it's checked out, would not be possible until you go and check it back in. Or you can cancel the checkout, then somebody else can edit. So some of these things, we can have some nice little simulation exercises where everybody, does one or two of the activities outlined, so everybody can feel that they have participated in the training.
Right, right. Yeah. One of the things too is that we don't really do a lot of documents unless it goes to litigation. So a legal officer would actually start to produce a lot of documents and receiving a lot of documents. But the typical case doesn't really have a lot of documents unless with contracts and receipts. Those are like probably the most, I don't know, Mrs. Tracy can probably mention, but receipts is probably one of the big items that would capture. But so my quick question to you, can we minimize the document section, the attachment section here on the screen? Can it be minimized? I just want to see the interface without that. So the entire attachment section, can it be like dragged across so that it doesn't take up so much screen real estate?
Yeah, of
The
course.
thing with it though, Andrew, is that it depends on the particular matter. Usually once a matter is advanced to legal, there's quite a bit of documentation that is attached. Because in it advancing to legal is when it would have passed through basically the field ops department and all the requested documentation and responses from both vendor and so would come in. So it's usually not just a receipt that accompanies it. So the need for additional documents becomes very necessary when a legal brief is being prepared.
Right, that's what I said. That's what I said. That once it goes into litigation, that's when
you're gonna have more.
Start to collect a lot of documents.
Right. So we need a lot of documents, you know, to be attached to the particular file.
Right.
So excellent observation,
Okay.
Andrew. And not only that, so for example, what we have here is that we have the option to store. So you can store here, all the complainant's documents will be stored in here. So the complaint documents, any supporting documents will be added here, right? And as you go through, like you say, might be a warranty document, but it might be the refund, information as to the refund. And of course, these things will be put in here, right? Stuff on the payment amount, the receipt number, whatever will be stored in here, right? Settlement amount, etc. will be stored there. But any other documents, for example, if there was formal mediation and you have to have the mediation report or any information back and forth from the merchant, here's where you'll put it in here. Or there's a letter to the merchant or a letter to the complainant, you'll store it in here as well. So there's the option to add documents to the case. And as you go along, they might want to find it's a little more convenient. So here will be the one single version of the truth where all documents are added to the case. Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, like you said, if you wanted, you found it, this was taking up too much real estate, you can go ahead and you can give yourself a massive living room if you want, and you can banish these here outside, or it depends, you have the facility to expand as need be. So say, for example, you can, that could be your view, right? If you don't have much documents working with, but then if you actually wanted to see a document, right, here, and you just wanted to preview it, then is when you can expand your screen to see the document, and then, right? And then when you want to finish, you just click here, and you click there actually. You click there, and you could actually remove the entire screen where you don't see any folders at all, right? Or you click here, and you see the folders there. So it's up to you. It has the facility to, once you click here, it removes the widget or not.
Right.
Question, Eleanor.
Yeah.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, of course I am.
How does the system calculate the resolution rate for complaints?
That's an excellent question. So that is going into a little bit of BI. So what we would do here is that you can, so for example, resolution rate. Let's suppose you had, in a month, you had 30 cases and 20 were resolved in a month, right? So that's like 66% resolution rate. Let's just say, right? Let's just say 60% resolution rate. Now, the system is not going to, let me just give you an advanced search here and come back here. Let's go search consumer matters. Okay. Let me just change the category from, give me a second. Consumer matters, should we? I think I had a request for advice. Yeah, so give me a second, let me just, 2 seconds. So to answer your question specifically, how is it going to determine the percentage, right? Or the resolution rate rather, because this is not a BI system. So let's go back in here. Let me just add all the cases that were launched today. Okay, so now what you can do, you can export all the cases, and here you will have start date and end date. Started on, ended on. Here you can have the status, resolved or not resolved. You can export it to Excel, and in Excel you'll have the number of cases, the total number of cases. So the number of cases resolved over to total number of cases, and you can chart it like that. But that would be the mechanism to do percentages. Does that answer your question?
So am I hearing that it could be a manual process where you have to export it to a spreadsheet in order to achieve the resolution rate?
Hold on. Give me a second. Give me a second. 1 second. Who was the person speaking there?
Oh, this is Richard Rowe.
Richard. Yes, we can do those. I believe we have a list of those reports that would be done in the system to generate specifically the rate of whatever you're looking for. So whether it's the resolution rate by assigned officer, by period, by type, et cetera, et cetera. Yes, the system can do that and produce those reports for you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, so can you all fill out the form very quickly? This is not university, right? So just put your little X's, right? And send it to Andrew, or you can send it. I don't think you can upload it to the case, but send it on. All right. So if anything else, the Zoom I meant. The Zoom. Yeah. Anything else? If not anything else, we can wrap up. Yeah. Miss Alain.
All right.
I didn't hear you.
I spoke with Andrew, so whatever I had, I conveyed to Andrew.
Yeah.
I think this is a good session, Eleanor. Thanks so much for the overview. I quite like the system, what I've seen, and I guess when you actually start using, I guess whatever challenges are, so we will convey to you through Andrew. So like what I'm seeing. So thanks again.
Okay, you're welcome. Anybody else?
Yes, I agree. Looking good so far. I like the user interface and the flow and the flexibility of the system. It's looking good, and I think it will certainly add value and to CAC and improve our efficiency once it's implemented. So looking forward to the day.
All right, great. Okay, so thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Ms. Allen. Yes.
Hi, Elena. For somebody whose department is integral in the use of this system, I want to say thank you, but I also want to add that you're going to become our new best friend.
All right. Okay, I can add some more friends to social media.
Thanks for that.
No problem. I'll let me explain. We're gonna have a 3-month hand-holding period where we have a Slack channel, and that's the business social that we have. So it's not really social, it's where anybody has an issue, you log on to Slack, you plug in your issue there, and we help you. So that's where we want to be agile, nimble, and flexible in responding to any request so that you can be up and running and adopt the system in a very speedy manner.
I like that. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so if not anything else, of course, if you have any follow-up thoughts, and so you can jot it down, send it to Andrew, and Andrew can send it to us as you go along. There you go. And then, of course, there will be a follow-up training session with hands-on, as Andrew requested. That's something that, of course, we plan to do. So thank you very much again, and tomorrow for the next session. All right.
Okay, keep
All right.
safe.
All right. Most welcome, everybody. Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye, guys.